Let's do some news. Police are investigating an early morning burglary and booze theft at a liquor store in the Villages. Suspects in a compact sport utility vehicle drove up at 3:03 a.m. Thursday to Kindred Spirits, which is next door to Publix at La Plaza Grande, and broke the glass front door window at the liquor store. Two suspects entered the liquor store while a third individual stayed in the vehicle and backed it up to the business. They loaded liquor into the back of the SUV. No cash was stolen from the store. Evidence gathered at the scene indicated the SUV had been stolen January 10th in Orlando. Plaza Grande is Spanish Springs area. It's right next door to Spanish Springs Town Square, actually. Police handing out tickets to left turn violators in US 27-441 construction zone. Right now, US 441 and 27 up there is a nightmare, truthfully. They're doing construction. I think they're replacing a bridge. I think they're adding an extra lane. It's just, I've said it before. I've been saying this for the longest time that I avoid 27 and 441 as much as possible. Even if we have to go to Leesburg, I go in the back way. What I call the back way is you can get on 44 down here, hang a left, and stay on 44, and it'll literally take you where you need to go in Leesburg. You can make rights and left once you get there. But keep in mind, Leesburg is no different than any other retirement community anywhere in Florida. They are building more and more retirement places down there. They're adding on to some of them that they've got. During snowbird season, there's just no escaping it. A villager was arrested on a drunk driving charge after his Mercedes hit a parked car at Publix. Officers were called at 9:30 a.m. to the Publix at Trailwinds Village on County Road 466A to investigate an accident involving a 2013 Mercedes owned by 63-year-old Bruce Pele of the village of Dunedin. According to an arrest report from the Wildwood Police Department, a New York native admitted he struck the other vehicle while pulling into the parking spot at the grocery store, but dismissed the damage as minimal. He decided it was minimal, so it was okay to leave. A police officer noticed that Pele's groceries included a bottle of gin. Pele said he purchased a gin to take to his parents later in the day. The report said Pele had bloodshot eyes and was thick. He struggled through a field of sobriety exercises. Pele was transported to the UF Health, the village's hospital, freestanding ER at Brownwood for a medical evaluation. While there, a blood sample was taken and sent to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement for testing. Pele was arrested on a charge of driving under the influence and booked at the Sumter County Detention Center on a $1,000 bond. Pele had been arrested in April 2019 after a report of a reckless driver in the vicinity of Buena Vista Boulevard and State Road 44. He had been on a Taco Bell run in his Mercedes when he was arrested with a blood alcohol level that registered .202 and .212. Previously, Pele had been sentenced to 6 months probation in connection with a 2015 hit-and-run accident in which he was initially charged with drunk driving. The then Village of Fernandina resident entered a plea of no contest to reduce charges of leaving the scene of an accident and reckless driving. Pele had been arrested in the parking lot of the Publix liquor store at Colony Plaza Shopping Center. This is what I'm saying. These guys get arrested, guys, gals, anybody. They get arrested 3, 4, 5, 6 times for drunken driving, driving under the influence, and they just keep, it's just a revolving door. When do they get so discouraged with this? The cops are happy walking around shaking their heads. What's the point? We arrest these guys, $1,000 bond, I arrest the same guy 3 months later. I arrested this guy last year. I'm arresting him again this year. It just goes on and on and on. Ooh, I'm sorry. A snowbird suffered a panic attack during a drunk driving arrest in the Villages. Lori Friedman, 62, of Salem, New Hampshire, was at the wheel of a 2007 Volkswagen at 10:45 p.m. Wednesday when she failed to maintain a single lane while traveling at 35 miles per hour in a 45 miles per hour zone on U.S. Highway 27 and 441 at Main Street at the entrance of Spanish Springs. A traffic stop was initiated near the Boone Gate on the historic side of the Villages. Friedman's pupils were dilated and her speech was slurred. She was invited to participate in field sobriety exercises, but she claimed she was suffering a panic attack. Lake County Fire Rescue was called to the scene and evaluated Friedman, but she refused any treatment. She also refused to take part in the field sobriety exercises and claimed, "I only had one glass of wine." Friedman also refused to provide a breath sample. "I'm not doing anything without my lawyer," she told the police. Perfectly within her right. She was arrested on a charge of driving under the influence. She was booked at the Lady Lake County Jail at $1,000 bond. A Village Center Community Development District Board of Supervisors has agreed to forgive $4,000 in fines at a former eyesore on the historic side of the villages. In 2018, the home at 1602 Hilton Head Boulevard in the village of Country Club Hills was found in violation of deed compliance due to overgrown grass, weeds, and debris on the lot. The owner, Phyllis Duster, was in a dementia care center, neighbors said. Duster was from Michigan and retired to the villages in 1988. She died December 26, 2018. The manufactured home with 2 bedrooms and 2 baths sold on May 17th for $150,000. The home dates back to 1988. As of December 13th, all violations have been cleared according to the community standards. The district cut the grass 16 times at the property. The actual cost of maintenance was $1,575. And I've seen this before people come down hard on community standards and things like that. Along with that situation, elderly people, dementia, they pass away, things of that nature. The house gets sold to new owners, and then sometimes the new owners have to accept the fines and pay them because now they're the new property owners. But a lot of times they will forgive these fines over a period of time because in situations like that, what's the new owner supposed to do? They didn't cause this problem. They wanted to clean it up. And I'm going to put 2 pictures up here. It looks like one is what the house looked like before the new owners took it over. The second picture is what the house looks like now after the new owners took it over and cleaned it up, and they forgave the fines. And I'm totally with that. I think that was in order. Remember the kid that hit mom? He threatened to kill her, had a knife and everything. I had to call the police, have him taken out, and he got arrested for one thing or another because the TV was too loud. His mother asked him just to please turn it down like at 3 o'clock in the morning. He got mad and started threatening her and everything else. This is the same story. I'll put the picture up of the guy. Those of you that follow the news channel here, you'll recognize the picture. A villager's son will not be prosecuted after allegedly threatening his mother over the volume of the television in their living room. The prosecutor's office this week announced no information will be filed in the case of 43-year-old Keith Nicholas Barnum, who was arrested December 29 at the home he shares with his mother at 730 Roseapple Avenue in the village of Silver Lake. Victims have expressly indicated her desire that prosecution be abandoned in this case. As the sole witness, prosecution cannot be successfully pursued under the circumstances. Assistant State Attorney Lennis Archer wrote in the announcement of no information. Barnum was freed from Lake County Jail, where he'd been held since his arrest. Barnum's mother came to her bedroom and asked him to turn down the volume. Barnum, who had been drinking, told his mother she needed to go back to her bedroom and stay there. He pulled out a folding razor knife and threatened her. I'm not going to read all this. I read it once before. He had been arrested in January 2021 in another disturbance at the square. He was arrested also in 2018. He was arrested after crashing his mother's car. And Mommy probably went up there and then bailed him out of jail and talked to attorney into dropping all the charges, making him, free once again to cause more problems. Thanks, Mom! A Village of Finney woman has paid a fine in connection with a golf cart drunk driving arrest last month after leaving Brownwood. Jennifer Lynn Clark, 58, who lives in the Sand Pine Villas in the Village of Finney, on Tuesday paid a $166 fine for an open container violation, which occurred on the night of December 10. Clark was driving a purple Yamaha cart shortly before midnight Friday in the area of Megason Road and Tharp Avenue when she swerved to avoid hitting a pole, according to the arrest report from Wildwood Police Department. She stopped in the grass just off the cart path. I observed the driver exit the golf cart and pull her pants down and proceed to urinate. Although Clark would not take part in field sobriety exercises, she provided breath samples that measured .139 and .143 blood alcohol content. Her driving under the influence case is still pending. Her arraignment is set for January 19. CDD3 refuses to participate in renewed discussion of multimodal path striping. Here's the problem with that. I don't know all the ins and outs of the rules from one district to another district. Right now, I think we have like 14 different districts in the villages. I'm in District 10. District 10, we don't need any striping here. Each district has to pay to have that striping not only put down, but to have that striping maintained over the years. It would be a constant issue, money-wise. They say it doesn't cost that much. Not true. The district that had that striping put down, I think if I remember a report that we did on that like a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, it was $100,000 for that district. I think it was like District 3, CDD3. I think it was $100,000 for them to put that down. That's not including the maintenance cost year after year after year of that stripe. Eventually, it's got to be redone. Eventually, it's got to be cleaned, all this kind of stuff. Some districts at night are right next to these main roads, and on a rainy night, and I've been on some of them roads, when you have car lights, especially nowadays with everybody's got to have 4 and 6 lights on the city. You know, they call them daytime running lights, but they're not. They're just fog lights, and they're halogen, and they're all these LEDs and all this and that, and they're bright. They reflect off that wet road in your eyes. In a retirement community where people generally have some type of vision impairment of some type, cataracts or whatever, and it blinds you, and you can't see that black asphalt. It's hard to see it. I'll go along with that. I have seen areas where it was like that. Now, my eye's not that bad. I know I might look like it is, but it's not. Well, in our area here in District 10, almost all of District 10, I've been through all of this. Rainy, stormy. I've done videos of me driving a golf cart at night in the rain. You've seen them. We don't have a problem here. We don't need striping here. We don't want to pay $100,000 plus because every year it gets more expensive, right? Right? Because there's a supply chain problem, right? I don't know. I'm being sarcastic. But we don't need it. We don't want our golf cart striping here in District 10. I'm sure a lot of other districts don't want them, and I think we should be allowed to vote them in or vote them out. And I can just tell you District 10 is probably going to get voted out because we just don't need it. Here's another report that I've done years ago, and I've probably done reports on this 2 or 3 times where I make mention about certain areas in the villages in your golf cart. Be very careful because it's dangerous here. People have been killed in this area. But here's somebody that's making a report about the exact same area that I've talked about many times. Community Development District 1 the supervisors on Friday made it clear they plan to push ahead with concerns about golf cart safety on Morris Boulevard. The dangers of the interaction between golf carts and vehicles on this busy thoroughfare that runs from U.S. Highway 27 and 441 to County Road 466 has long been a concern to CD1 supervisors, notably Supervisor Ellen Cora, who has long been outspoken on the issue. I'm with you, Ella. Too many lives get lost up there. Too many people get hurt up there. There's no sense in it. Absolutely no sense in it. $1 billion organization here making millions of dollars every year here, and we have to deal with that. Some county, somewhere, has to accept liability for a bad design. That's the way I see it. I cringe when I see some of the new people driving golf carts. They weave, they are on the phone, they are right by the line and not near the grass, Cora said. They are 2 inches from your car. That's true. And anybody anymore is running around with a cell phone in their ear. They're in the car talking on the phone. They're in their golf cart talking on the phone. They're not paying attention. And I'm not talking about just that district. I'm talking everywhere. To me, it's a concern. Last year, a 74-year-old New Yorker died after his golf cart collided with a 2-seater Mercedes on Morris Boulevard. He was thrown from his golf cart and had not been wearing a seatbelt. The snowbird had departed the postal station moments before the crash occurred. And let me tell you this, seatbelts are safety. I'm not denying that. But I am so sick of reading that kind of rhetoric right there. It makes it sound like you have to have your seatbelt on. There is no law in Florida or Sumter County that requires any golf cart to have seat belts. It's something you have to have installed if you want them. Now, will it help protect you? Sure it will. But they make it sound like it. Let me read it again. He was thrown from his golf cart, had not been wearing a seatbelt. He's not required to wear a seatbelt. Seatbelts in the state of Florida, and golf carts, not the ones that street legal, golf carts are not required by law. So quit saying that. Quit making comments about that. It's not a law. If you got a problem with seatbelts in golf cart, what you should be doing is sending your emails to people that make the laws. Governor DeSantis, send him the emails about this kind of stuff. Writing a letter to the editor. Editor has nothing to do with the laws here. He's not breaking the law. He will never, ever get a ticket in a crash for not wearing a seatbelt in a golf cart. You'll never, ever hear of that ticket. So anyway, that area up there is a concern. Supervisors have grown frustrated with their inability to deal with problems like mold, particularly in abandoned homes. They have been feeling the heat from residents upset about eyesores in their neighborhood. Yes, they should. Abandoned homes. For those of you that don't live here, that's thinking about moving here, don't get this misunderstand what that means. It's not like somebody just packed their bags up and just left the home. It's abandoned homes are people that are no longer here. They passed away. They had no will. Nobody wants to claim the home, like a relative, a son, a daughter. They just don't have it. And so the home's just set. And then the grass doesn't get mowed, trees don't get trimmed, bushes look like crap, and then just green mold gets all over the outside of the house. And then, of course, the inside of the house, who knows? Those are the issues. And I've mentioned on here many times, please have a will. Please have somebody in place to take over your property in case something happens. So, and in a lot of the abandoned homes also, the people are still alive. And then what happens is they get dementia. They have Alzheimer's. They have something happened where they have to go to assisted living, or they have to go live with their son or live with their daughter because it's a physical, it's a mental, it could be any kind of a problem like that. So the home's still in their name, the person is still alive, and thus these problems don't get tackled. And so there has to be something to do to resolve that issue. So I've always been in line with taking care of this. Now there's going to be, you guys are going to say something here, but I'll explain it a little bit. Community Development District 4 was the first to amend its rules to all power washing and hedge trimming. CDDs 1 and 3 followed CDD 4's lead. Others are also considering it. The cost of power washing is $150 an hour plus a $100 administrative fee. Now you're going to say, oh my God, that's outrageous. It is, because for $69, I get one of the best house washing companies. I've had them for years, and they're the best in my opinion. I don't like power washing. I don't want power washing. I've explained my reasons why. So anyway, I get my whole house done, and they do everything from my lanai, inside the lanai, outside the lanai, windows, all that stuff for like $69 every 6 months. It doesn't take much. The reason why this is that high is because the villages doesn't want to get into the business of washing houses and trimming hedges. So if you make it too cheap, the average person down here, they're just going to sit back and go, you know what, I'm not going to wash my house anymore, and I'm not going to trim the hedges. Because the villages will do it for $50. Why should I mess with it? And that next thing you know, the villages are doing it in every home here. They don't want to get in that business. So they make it high enough to where you're going to say, oh, that's outrageous. I'm not paying them $150 an hour when I can get this company over here for $60 to do it. See, I think that's correct. They don't want to do it, and I understand that. So you're not going to get me to badmouth them on that. A man has been sentenced to jail time after he was found sleeping in his car at a town square in the Villages. Skyler Blue Draper, 37, of Oxford, pleaded no contest last week in Sumter County Court to a charge of driving under the influence. He was sentenced to 10 days in jail, will lose his driver's license for 6 months, and has been placed on probation for 1 year. He was also ordered to perform 50 hours of community service. The Baltimore native was found asleep in a white Jeep Grand Cherokee shortly before midnight, June 12th, in the parking lot behind Panera Bread at Lake Sumter Landing, prompting the Sumter County Sheriff's deputy to be called to investigate reports of a suspicious vehicle. Draper was slumped over the driver's seat, partially hanging out the driver's open door. Can you imagine that? Hanging out the car, and it didn't wake him up. The vehicle was running with the lights on. Draper told the deputy he could not drive because he was too loaded. He said he had the door open of the vehicle so he could throw up. Oh, Lord. He struggled with field sobriety exercises and provided breath samples that measured 0.143 and 0.136 blood alcohol content. 4 gate strikes in the villages during snowbird season. At this time of year, there is an increase in traffic on the roads and an increase in the number of gate arms that are struck by vehicles in the villages. The most common cause of these gate strikes is excess vehicle speed. Sometimes it is a motorist that fails to slow enough to allow a gate arm to fully open, or while other times the motorist who punches the button or quickly runs their card without even slowing down. When a motorist slows, it allows time for the gate arm to open, and it allows time for those passing behind the gate area to observe, respond, and cross safely. The golf carts to go across, and walkers and bicycles. Maybe these people just don't even need to be driving. Villagers can sign up for Community Watch's Adult Watch program for an extra level of security. When registering for a free program, residents can request to receive a call at a designated time of day and sometimes more than once per day. The frequency of calls is determined by the residents requesting the phone calls. Some residents request to be called every day. Some residents request to be called on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. In 2021, an average of 107 calls were made each day, and over 40,000 calls were made throughout the year. When making Adult Watch phone calls, Community Watch follows specific protocol. If the resident answers on the first call, staff has conversations with the residents for a few minutes. If residents do not answer, multiple calls are made. Other protocols may include contacting Community Watch dispatch and local law enforcement. If you have any questions or need additional information, contact the District Customer Service Center at 352-753-4508, or you can email customerservice@districtgov.org. The Buena Vista Boulevard extension from Megason Road to State Road 44 project will commence the week of Monday, January 17th, according to Sumter County officials. This project will provide a new 4-lane divided roadway connecting Megason Road and State Road 44. The project will include the construction of 2 roundabouts, 2 drainage retention areas, 2 bridge structures and retaining walls, soil stabilization columns, a new mast arm traffic signal at the intersection of State Road 44, a new 8-inch force main within the project limits, and landscaping and irrigation. Motorists are asked to use caution when traveling Buena Vista Boulevard, State Road 44, and Heritage Boulevard, Springfield Way. Lane closures will be utilized during the day and night hours. Heavy machinery will be working near the travel way. The anticipated completion of the project is December 2022. I'll put up a picture, probably up here, of what the project looks like. I'm going to read this story. It's not an unusual story, but this might give you a clue as to why I did a video here a few months ago about the golf cart trails south of 44. And I did pictures of them. I did a video of it. I showed the golf cart trail. I showed it's my concern, I suppose, of why them golf cart trails, the people living down there, the people that's buying down there need to really see. Right now, that whole area down there is still under the developer's control. Eventually, each area down there, each neighborhood, each area down there, each district, I suppose, is going to be turned over to the residents. After that, anything down there that needs to be done, you guys are going to pay for. How all that works out, I don't know. I'm not into politics here, don't want to be, but you're going to be required to pay for that. And if your area, district, say District 11, don't have the money for it, they'll come to like District 10, District 9, District 8, all of us, and have all of us chip in to fix something that should have been taken care of a long time ago. And here's a good example of that. Community Development District 4 supervisors are hoping an independent $20,000 engineering study could unearth the root of the problems at the Sawyer Villas. CDD4 supervisor on Friday made it known that they are unhappy about having to spend the money on an engineering study to solve the mystery of premature deterioration of the roadways in the Sawyer Villas. The problems at the villas have been tied to the under drain system. The Sawyer Villa problems is eerily similar to drainage woes at the Callahan Villas and the Bell Glade Villas in Community District 10, my district. Last month, CD10 supervisor absorbed the news that a $45,000 civil engineering study would be needed to address the issues at those villas. At least one supervisor feared it could be just the tip of the iceberg. The Sawyer Villas were constructed roughly 5 years ago, at about the same time as the Callahan Villas and the Bell Glade Villas. CDD4 have similar tip of the iceberg fears. It is going to cost all of the residents of District 4 some money unless the developer steps up. He's not going to step up. He done turned it over. He's done with it. The money's in his pocket, and you're not going to get it back. Once again, our budget is being impacted. It is an unplanned expense. First Responders Recreation Center remains on time and on budget. The daughter of a couple in the Villages has been arrested after a third domestic disturbance in a matter of months. Stephanie Romas, 42, was booked without bond on a charge of battery Thursday at the Sumter County Detention Center. The native New Yorker was arrested after shoving a woman and pulling her hair, according to an arrest report from Sumter County Sheriff's Department. The woman announced she would be calling 911, and Romas left the house and went back to the patio area. The nature of the relationship to the woman was redacted from the arrest report. Two previous disturbances at Romas' parents' home at 4124 Victory Lane in the village of Osceola Hills have resulted in her arrest. Romas was arrested October 19th after a fight with her father. She was released after a $2,000 bond. She was arrested October 9th at her parents' home after deputies were called to investigate a disturbance. They discovered Romas was wanted on a warrant which stems from an incident September 15th at the Save-A-Lot store in Wildwood, which she stole cereal, according to the affidavits from the Wildwood Police Department. The villa is owned by her parents. Sumter County court records indicate that theft charges was dropped in late December. What can I say? I think I've said it all. A villager has been booked at the Lake County Jail after an alleged attack on a woman. Gary Thomas Wilcox, 60, who lives in the village of Alhambra, was booked Wednesday following his arrest Monday at 2707 Bravada Drive on Lake County warrants charging him with burglary with battery, criminal mischief in violation of an injunction. Bond has been set at $25,500 bond. A driver was transported by ambulance Saturday from the scene of a crash at a busy intersection just outside the Villages. The crash occurred at about 11:45 a.m. at the intersection of Micro Racetrack Road and County Road 466A. Fruitland Park police officers responded to the crash site along with EMS personnel. The intersection is located directly across from the village of Fruitland Park. A four-door silver sedan sustained front-end damage. Force of the impact prompted to deploy the vehicle's airbag. The car was towed from the scene by a towing company. Be careful. Snowbirds are here. I'm telling you. I'm not saying that's a snowbird accident at all, but I'm telling you, there's the traffic here. It's snowbirds not just in the Villages. It's snowbirds at Del Webb. It's snowbirds over at Spruce Creek. It's snowbirds that are on top of the world. It's snowbirds. Any retirement community is full of snowbirds, so the population here has grown tremendously. And then on top of all this, you have 441 construction up there, and everybody's using these side roads to get from point A to point B, and it's like watching a bunch of ants. One of the side roads they use here a lot is Rolling Acres Road to get from the southern end, say Brownwood area, up to the shopping areas up around Spanish Springs, which there's a lot of shopping up there around Spanish Springs, and restaurants and so on and so forth. It's Rolling Acres Road, and Rolling Acres Road is really at one point just a country road. I used it for years. It's just a nice little country road to get you from here to there without going up Buena Vista, without going up Morris Boulevard. But more and more people moved in, more and more people learn about it, and of course all these other communities. Apartments is another one. There's so many apartments they're building. More and more is coming. All them people drive, and they're all wanting to get somewhere and stay away from the traffic. And Rolling Acres Road now has gotten to the point where it is just a death trap to try to get up that road. And I'm not sure you're saving any time at all. Rolling Acres Road continues to strain under the increasing traffic from the area's non-stop growth. As development continues to mushroom all around it, there has been no plan for relief for Rolling Acres Road. Backups and traffic crashes have become the norm on the road, which stretches from Griffin Avenue in Lady Lake to Lake Ella Road in unincorporated Lake County. Rolling Acres Road officially has been classified as a failing road. Rolling Acres Road is owned by the county. We discussed the idea of developing a partnership with the town of Lady Lake, Lake County, and the state of Florida in resolving the issues around Rolling Acres Road. NFL player arrested after fleeing police at high rate of speed in Fruitland Park. A National Football League player was arrested after fleeing police at a high rate of speed in Fruitland Park. Laurenti Zavon McCray, 31, who played on the 2015 Super Bowl winning Denver Broncos team, was at the wheel of a white Dodge Ram pickup when the chase began due to an apparent speeding violation, according to an arrest report. The pursuit reached speeds up to 100 miles per hour and ended in Tavares. McRae, who currently is a lineman on the Jacksonville Jaguars roster, was alone in the pickup and displayed an expletive hand gesture using the middle finger toward the officer who initiated the traffic stop. That was smart. McRae appeared to be in an altered mental status and was transported by Lake EMS to Advent Health Waterman in Tavares for a medical evaluation. During an interview at the emergency room, McRae asked the officer who had chased him, "Oh, that was you? My bad." Smartass. He was arrested on a charge of fleeing, attempting to elude law enforcement. He was also cited for speeding. McRae, who lists an Ocala address, was booked at the Lake County Jail and released after posting a $5,000 bond. The Dunedin High School graduate played at the University of Florida in 2008 through 2012. In 2013, he signed as an underdrafted rookie with Denver. He later played for the Green Bay Packers and was traded to the Buffalo Bills. He was signed as an unregistered free agent by 2017 by Jacksonville. Son, you got your whole life ahead of you, and you're going down a dead-end street. Well, let's see what's going on in Margaritaville again this week. A woman was arrested after allegedly trying to run down a man with her car at Margaritaville in the Villages. Taylor McFerrin, 28, of Umatilla, was found by an officer early Saturday morning in the parking lot of the Chipotle restaurant at Village Crossroads after apparently fleeing the incident at the popular night spot at Spanish Springs Town Square in the Villages. She was at the wheel of a blue Toyota RAV4 when she drove at the man who was struck in the left knee as he attempted to dodge her oncoming vehicle, according to the arrest report of Lady Lake Police Department. She allegedly hit a parked car as she fled the scene. Her car sustained front-end damage in the collision. There was a cup in her car that contained a pink beverage that smelled like alcohol. McFarland was placed in a squad car and taken back to Margaritaville. She vomited in a patrol car during the trip. The Indiana native was very belligerent, cussing and yelling. She attempted to spit on the police officer and had to be put in a spit mask. I don't know if some people realize that if you spit on a police officer, that's assault. Assaulting a police officer carries a much higher charge. Who are you people? Where do you come from with this attitude? Good Lord. Let's see what's happening to the commissioners this week. A Sumter County commissioner has entered a plea in his perjury case. Gary Search, a resident of the village of Amelia, entered a plea of not guilty through his attorney Tuesday in Marion County Court. Search was not present at the arraignment. The 71-year-old commissioner, suspended earlier this month from his elected position by Governor Ron DeSantis, is being represented by attorney Richard Hornsby. Judge Peter Brigham set a pretrial conference for April 19th in Search's case. Orrin Mills, a resident of the village of Sanibel, previously waived arraignment in the case. He has also entered a plea of not guilty, and like Search, he is facing a third-degree felony charge of perjury. They both were arrested December 15th. Both remain free on bond. Here's another one. I can't remember, but I remember this face from before. He's been arrested before. Here we are, same guy, arrested again for something else. It's a long article. I'm going to probably skip through it. A Maryland man living in the village of Chitty Chatty was arrested after he was found passed out in his vehicle at Colony Cottage Recreation Center. An employee at the 7-Eleven at Colony Plaza at about 2 p.m. Friday spotted a silver 2015 Honda Accord with Maryland license plates in a parking lot, and it appeared a man in the vehicle was passed out. She checked on the man, who was very irritable. He initially told her his car had died. He started the vehicle, grabbed a large vodka bottle from under the seat, took a drink, and put the bottle back, the arrest report said. He drove off. 911 caller reported seeing the vehicle at Colony Cottage Recreation Center. Deputies found 62-year-old James Philip Steinmeier in the vehicle, and his speech was extremely slurred. He initially indicated he lived in Maryland, but later said he was living in the Villages. He was asked to participate in field sobriety exercises, but he told deputies, "I would rather call my girlfriend." A vodka bottle was spotted in the vehicle. His breath samples measured .371 and .367 blood alcohol content. A criminal history check revealed he had been convicted of driving under the influence in 2014 in Indianapolis, Indiana. He provided an address of 1039 Wilder Path in the village of Chitty Chatty. The $591,000 home was purchased last year by a woman. He was arrested on a charge of driving under the influence and booked at Sumter County Detention Center. He was released after posting a $1,000 bond. They never learn. They just never learn. A bingo fundraiser set for Thursday evening at Everglades Recreation Center. The Tri-County Optimist Club will hold a bingo fundraiser to benefit youth activities in the Tri-County area. From 6:30 to, good Lord, I couldn't pronounce this guy's name if I had to. I'll have to type it in, put his picture up here, and below his picture, I'll try to put his name in there. A diner was jailed after an alleged intoxicated attack at a local Mexican restaurant. Wildwood police were called Saturday night to Los Magueyes Mexican restaurant at 344 Shopping Center Drive after 31-year-old something Wildwood allegedly threatened another man at the bar. The other man attempted to de-escalate the situation, but Ramirez struck him on the right side of his face, according to the arrest report. Officers used an interpreter to try to communicate with the native of Guatemala. However, his level of aggression progressively worsened. The report said he ultimately threatened police. Arrested on a charge of disorderly conduct and booked at Sumter County Detention Center. He was released after posting a $500 bond. Interesting, though. Wouldn't it be interesting to know if he was here legally or if he's another illegal? We have so many of them here in Florida right now. A confused and extremely paranoid Indiana man was arrested after turning aggressive during a traffic stop on State Road 44 in Wildwood. Nicholas Blazonis Long, 33, of Hunterdon, Indiana, was driving a gray van with Indiana license plates at 2:30 a.m. Friday on State Road 44 near Powell Road. He was pulled over for failing to properly stop at a stop bar, according to an arrest report from the Wildwood Police Department. Long's pupils appeared extremely dilated. He began making statements that made no sense. He was speaking in multiple accents. He appeared to be confused and extremely paranoid. The officer making the traffic stop feared Long was possibly turning aggressive. Officers suspected Long was possibly under the influence of drugs, methamphetamine, and a glass pipe was found in the van. When Long was placed in the back seat of a patrol car, he began hitting his head against the rear cage of the vehicle. Two of the deputies had to remove him. When they reached Sumter County Detention Center, he resisted their efforts. He was arrested on charges of driving under the influence, possession of methamphetamine, possession of drug paraphernalia, and resisting arrest. He was taken in custody and booked and jailed on a $4,000 bond. A native of Jamaica, allegedly in possession of marijuana, was arrested after a brief chase in Lady Lake. Andre Alkirk Salter, 34, of Ocala, was speeding at 3:20 a.m. Saturday on U.S. Highway 27 and 441, according to the arrest report from Lady Lake Police Department. The native of Jamaica was caught on radar traveling 60 miles per hour in a 45 miles per hour zone. During a traffic stop on County Road 27 and Griffin Avenue, an officer detected an odor of marijuana coming from Salter's vehicle. A marijuana cigarette was found between the driver's seat and the center console. Salter was arrested on charges of fleeing to elude police enforcement and possession of marijuana. He was booked at the Lake County Jail and released after posting a $3,000 bond. I believe that's about it. There is a letter to the editor here about snowbirds, snowflakes, and frogs. I read it a while ago. It's stupid. It doesn't make no sense whatsoever. I'm not even going to read it. I think that'll be the news, the village's news for this week. And the only other thing I've got to simply say, don't leave your keys in a golf cart.